Welcome back to Pompey Scrapbook, your home for a historical look at some Portsmouth matches and some all things Portsmouth, as me and Tony like to go back and review. We are going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to blend our historical take on Pompey things with something that's a little bit more topical. What are we looking at, Tony?
Cup replays. That's been in the news in the last couple of weeks. The FA, in their wisdom, have decided that FA Cup games will not have replays from the first round onwards, and it'll just be one game into a penalty shootout. FA Cup replays are a crucial lifeblood for lower league teams, especially if they manage to get to the third round and draw a big side and get to a replay. The revenue this generates can be crucial for these teams. But the FA don't really care about that. They're only interested in the big clubs, and they're saying, we play too many games, we don't want to have any replays.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure how they came about the decision, whether team owners vote on it or they just decided after various moaning from the likes of Man City just to change it. I don't know.
I think teams have to vote on it, and that presumably you have to have a majority in favour to change rules, but it just surprises me that certain teams in the Premier League would vote for it. Teams like Bournemouth and who else is there? West Ham? No, West Ham are in Europe, but the teams that are not in Europe, why would they vote for it? Because this is the main reason. It's the teams that are in Europe and playing 10, 12, 15 games, whatever it is. They don't want the extra games in the FA Cup.
I can see how you get a consensus of Premier League teams would agree, more than half. But if you include EFL teams in it, there's no way they would vote for it, surely.
I'm not sure EFL teams got much of a say, did they? If you read some of the press about it, teams say that they weren't asked about it.
Yeah.
So who
The other
knows?
thing I think about with this is we're talking about teams of professional sports people. So I don't know how many days a week a Premier League team would train. Maybe they have 3 or 4 days of training on top of a match at a weekend. So why not just not have one of those days of training because you've got a match on Tuesday night against Hereford or whatever the game might be.
Sounds very simple, doesn't it? It's and it, I always think that a game in the week is better than a day's training anyway. I mean, that would be my outlook on it, but
And
who knows?
if you're Man City and you've got a large squad of international players, then isn't it better to have a properly competitive game in the FA Cup, whatever competition it is, so that you can use, your reserves aren't good enough, the likes of Alvarez and Grealish and people that they're not picking in a Premier League game.
It must be hard having to bring players like that in, mustn't it?
If you
Yeah,
can't pick a sensible team, if you're a Man City, or not just picking on them, if you're or Arsenal, Liverpool, whoever, if you can't pick a sensible team out of the fringe players you've got that are probably all internationals to beat a League One, League Two team, then there's something wrong.
well, of course you can, can't you? I mean, they put an under 21 team in the EFL Trophy for a start.
Yeah,
You know, there you go. Anyway, it's not our decision. The FA have made the decision.
yeah.
Everybody should just get on with it now.
Uh, it's a rich vein of matches that we're going to miss out on that won't exist anymore. What was your first away game, Tony?
My first away game was at Arsenal in 1971. That was an FA Cup fourth round replay. After a 1-1 draw at Fratton, we lost the replay 3-2 with a late goal, and Arsenal went on to win the double. So that wasn't a bad first away game to have, I must admit. And I also got to miss a day of school. So that was a real bonus.
And now we're getting to the crux of why they're stopping FA Cup replays. It's kids scarfing off school to watch football matches.
Absolutely, yep, yep. You've absolutely caught me out completely there. I blame my mum and dad.
Yeah, I of course I I missed school for my first away match, which was oh no, it was my second away match, wasn't it? Liverpool
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
Milk Cup. I had to have the whole day off school to travel to Scousland. So
yes.
okay, so we've got 3 matches that we're going to look at in the FA Cup that involve going to a replay. So where are we starting first, Tony?
Back to 1992, a fine year for Pompey in the FA Cup, as obviously we reached the semi-final and lost to Liverpool. But we're going to the fifth round and a tie at Middlesbrough, which came about after a 1-1 draw at Fratton.
So this is the match that by winning this replay got us the quarter final against Forest then.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, so off to Ayresome Park. I believe you can kick us off by telling us about some controversy in the team selection, Tony.
Well, yeah, I can clearly remember sitting at home. I didn't travel to Middlesbrough, I must admit, for this, but sitting at home listening to Radio Solent. And when they came on, they just said some shock team news was that Guy Whittingham had been left out in favour of Colin Clarke. And unanimously, I think every Pompey supporter on the South Coast thought, oh my God, what are we doing?
Yeah,
But
nothing
I
against
don't think they gave us any confidence that we would win the game, but
nothing against Colin Clarke, of course, but
nothing at all, nothing at all. But Guy was our main goal scorer at the time, and the idea of leaving him out just seemed a crazy move.
yeah. Okay,
Just knows what we know.
so let's kick off then. We'll go through the goals. So I believe this is Borough about to take a free kick.
John Beresford, poised and ready.
Yeah. Well, interesting you should say poised and ready.
Because nobody else is.
Yeah, we're all stood around talking about it.
And Paul Wilkinson with a header. He was a strong centre forward, tough player to play against. And always seemed to score goals against us.
So I don't think this goal happens in with today's rules, because I think the referee makes a decision, doesn't he, and tells you, I'm now doing the wall, you're waiting for the whistle.
Yeah. You're probably right, yeah. The referee has to make sure everybody's in position and ready to go.
Yeah.
Whereas back then it was just, you've conceded a free kick, you just make sure you're ready. Sadly, we weren't.
So ball's been pumped forward. That is Clarke to Shaggy, Darren Anderton. And I have to say that's not a typical Colin Clarke finish for me.
No, that's a cracking goal, isn't it, when you look at it? A lovely bit of interplay between the two of them, and then that's a great finish from Colin Clarke.
Yeah.
Not the sort of thing we remember him for, to be honest. Perhaps we've all misjudged him over the years.
Well, I haven't forgotten that he's a scummer, if that's what you mean.
And he did miss a few open goals when he played for them against us at the Dell.
So 1-1, corner to Middlesbrough coming up.
And I think we might have seen this before somewhere, haven't we? Corner, we're all ready, poised and ready. Oh, no, we're not.
Wilkinson again.
Again, yeah.
From 3 yards.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I'll move on quickly from that one. So 2-1 down, still first half. That's Beresford pumping that forward.
And again.
Yeah.
And then it's Darren Anderton with some great work over here. And Clarke again with another great finish.
Yeah, that's from that position. That's about the only way they could have worked that.
Yeah.
Was him getting that ball in and Clarke getting across the front of the defender.
With his left foot as well. I mean, he was basically a right-footed player, but that's finished with his left foot.
Yeah, great goal.
I mean, how many times do you hear now that they say on the television, "Oh, it's on his wrong foot"? I mean, that should never happen, should it? Right, we're into the second half now. Looks like.
Yep, corner, Darren Anderton.
Bit of a scuff. Oh dear.
What on the replay? Watch number 6. Watch the Borough number 6. I'm not quite sure what's happening. Yeah, so direct from a corner.
which was a complete mishit. You can only think he's had a call from the keeper or something. But yeah, it was yeah, quite good.
So
But, but suddenly we're 3-2 up and thinking, oh, hang on, we might actually win this.
ball won back there by Warren Neal.
Darryl Powell and Anderton with a great finish. And suddenly it's 4-2.
What a game for Anderton here. So he's scored 2. Okay, one of them was direct from a corner somehow. And both the assists for Colin Clarke's goals. So
Yeah. I mean, I think he was still only 20 at the time. He'd only just come into the team maybe the season before.
yeah,
But he's just starting to come to the notice of the big teams in Division 1 as it was at the time.
yeah.
And his ability was never in doubt, was it?
And obviously we went on through the cup run. He scored that goal in the semi-final, and then we sold him to Spurs that summer. Was it?
We did sell him at the end of the season, yeah. I guess, I mean, we sort of almost got into the playoffs that season as well. So if we had and got promoted, who knows? We may well have kept him. But as it was, we didn't, and he moved on. And he was playing for England within a year, I suppose.
So from that game, well, on the highlights I've seen, I'd be picking Darren Anderton as my man of the match. But we're going to leave him for a Pompey card until we cover that semi-final game. So for your consideration, I bring you Colin Clarke as a Pompey card. 5'11", 108 appearances for us and 27 goals.
Surprises me. He's only 5'11", to be honest. You tend to think of him as a big centre forward, but perhaps 5'11" was big
It's quite
in the 90s.
big compared to me.
Yeah, but you tend to think of them now at least sort of 6'1", 6'2". But
yeah,
anyway, it's a reasonable record. It's not a great record. 27 goals in 108 appearances.
So 38 internationals, and at one stage he was Northern Ireland's record goal scorer, wasn't he?
He was, yes.
Yeah.
Which, considering, I think he took the record from George Best.
I mean, so similar players, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, very similar type players. Yeah.
I've given him Pompey power of 77.
Yeah. Okay. That's generally lower than most of the ones we've had before, isn't it?
Yeah. Bailey and Walsh about 85, 86. Jamal Lowe 78. I believe we gave him. So I think that's fair.
Yeah. I think that's not too bad. Yeah.
You've got to remember he is a scummer.
You keep saying that as if you should lose points for that.
Well, it definitely detracts from your Pompey power, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, well, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, because we have said before it's about what you do for the club, not just your ability on the pitch. So.
And also, he played a similar number of games for them and scored about twice as many goals. So
yeah,
that doesn't sit well with me.
Which the interesting thing about that is surely all of his games for them would have been in the first division as well. So at a higher level, he had a much better scoring record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's Mr. Clarke, good striker.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so.
Where are we going to head to next, Tony?
We're going to go to 1994. I think move on 2 years.
I feel like I'm in like Back to the Future. You telling me what year we're going to travel to?
And we're going back to what was a very busy little period for Pompey. With some big games.
Yeah, so this is we'll look at both games here, the first match and the replay. So this is against Blackburn Rovers. And in the same week that we played Blackburn Rovers, we were away at Old Trafford against Man United in the other cup.
League Cup, yep.
So busy, and at that time, Man United and Blackburn were doing fairly well in the league, weren't they, Tom?
They were first and second in the Premier League.
Hmm.
United were top, Blackburn were second. And we had them both away from home within the space of 4 days.
And didn't lose to either of them.
Didn't lose to either of them, yeah.
Away, anyway.
No,
Okay,
true.
let's have a quick look at the game at Blackburn then. So,
That's a classic away kit we've got here.
yes.
So that's our old mate Shearer.
Hmm.
Never mind.
I seem to remember I was in that end of the ground. I assume you were as well.
And actually, I wasn't there.
Oh, okay. Oh. Yeah, I remember being in that end and somebody hit Alan Shearer with a pie.
do we know what flavour it was?
I'm sure it was chicken balti.
Let's hope it was something hot.
Yeah.
Anyway, while we were talking about pies, we missed Macca with the equaliser. But then straight away, Blackburn score again. But we're not going to be denied. Here's Macca with another cool finish, and it's 2-2.
Nice celebration there. Nice little dance, Macca.
And from what I remember, that was quite late in the game when he made it 2-2. But there's Tim Sherwood, who, what, 2-3 years later? No, about 10 years later. Sorry, would be playing for us.
I can't remember if there's some significance to his celebration or whether he was copying Alan McLoughlin's celebration.
Yeah, maybe. There we are. He's in again for 3-3. Who would have believed it?
Yes, Macca.
Yeah, great man.
So that takes us back to Fratton Park for a replay. So let's have a look how we start with this one.
So this is late in the first half, almost right on half time, and it's just a scrappy old goal. Shearer deflected shot. 90 going the wrong way.
Yeah.
No chance really.
Come on, stop celebrating, you scummer. Let's see a replay. Yeah, hit the guy laying on the floor, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on then. We've got a little
into the second half.
free kick routine going on here.
This is just so simple, it's ridiculous.
May.
David May, yeah. If only it was that easy to score goals, eh? Just knock it in there and I'll head it in. There it was. On that occasion, it was that easy. Not sure what Nighty was doing in the goal, but there you go.
No.
Still 68 minutes, as the clock says. That man from the first leg comes back again. That's a good finish.
Yeah.
Cracking finish.
That's a long-range screamer for Macca. Oh,
I love the little touch on the shirts with the Pompey on there. Just
yeah. What was
basically taking the piss out of the Premier League because this is the first year of names and numbers on shirts.
Okay. Unless we had 11 players all called Pompey. I don't remember that.
So I don't think we did it on. Generally, that wasn't on the shirt, but. And this is the third goal that finished the game off. And for VAR. Oh for VAR.
That was Maradona.
Well, that's close. It's Jason Wilcox.
He's very similar to Maradona.
This is one of the angles here just shows it so clearly. But you just think, how on earth as the referee or either of the linesmen not seen it. It's just ridiculous. It's literally a slam dunk, isn't it?
Wow.
There you go. That was that 3-1.
Yeah, see, if only we had VAR. VAR.
I know. And if only we didn't have replays, we got to have had a penalty shootout at Blackburn and won that.
Yeah. So
No.
from that pair of games, let's talk about this chap. We have Alan McLoughlin's Pompey card. We're going through some nations. This one we've had Northern Ireland and now.
Yeah. And yeah, as we mentioned just now, great man, Macca. That appearance record, 361 appearances over 9 seasons. That's just the sort of figure you just won't see anymore because players just do not stay at clubs that long now, do they?
For the type of era that we're going to keep looking at games from, because it's a part of Pompey's history we're probably most interested and involved in for us, and there's footage of. Every time we go and watch a game, he seems to be there. He's involved in most of the goals we see, isn't he? One way or another.
So he was a great player, really, at that time, wasn't he? The sort of player everybody wants, a midfield player who scores goals, and that's if you've got one of them in your team, you're doing well. And a great man as well because he's after he finished playing, he stayed on coaching roles within the club, and then of course commentary as well on Express.
Yeah, great servant for the club, and of course he passed away a couple of years ago now, didn't he? Sad loss.
Very sad, yeah.
So Pompey Power 85 for Macca, so that's in the same region as Walshy Biley.
I think that's exactly the right place for him to be.
Yeah.
I mean, we did the video about the mural a few weeks back, and if Macca had been one of the 6 people on the mural, you wouldn't have argued.
No.
He was a great player for Pompey.
Yeah. Okay, so that was Blackburn. That was Alan McLoughlin. One more game to go, Tony. Where's the time machine going?
We're moving on 10 years to 2004 into the Premier League days, and it's a fifth round replay, I believe it was, against Liverpool.
Okay. Oh yeah, of course, 5th round makes it sound like we went on a huge cup run, but of course we were in the Premier League, weren't we? So.
Well, it is a big, huge cup run for us. We got through 2 rounds.
Yeah. Okay, so Liverpool. So let's kick it off with a clip from the game at Anfield. Just a goal to bring us. We're 1-0 down.
This was one of those classic games. If you're a Liverpool fan, they were 1-0. They dominated the game. Didn't score the second goal, and then Matty Taylor does that, and then does this.
He's obviously not done enough running in this game. He's gone for a warm up.
That is one of the good celebrations, though, isn't it? The whole length of the pitch.
Yeah, great goal. He whacked that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Was this Smirty over here on the wing?
It is, yeah. It's Alexei Smirtin, the Russian who had on loan from Chelsea.
Yeah. Bang.
With his right foot. With his right foot.
You don't save that, keeper.
No.
Okay. So, nicked a draw, basically.
We did, undoubtedly. Yeah, we nicked a draw, which we probably shouldn't have done, but we did.
Which brings them back to Fratton. And we'll start off with this free kick. Is that Mr. Gerrard?
That is Gerrard, yes. So this was the referee, I can't remember his name, just seemed determined to give Liverpool a penalty. And that's what he does here. And you think, oh, was it handball? Limboy's not so sure.
I mean, Limboy's looking angry, and Limboy is a man of God.
Yes.
He said some holy words to the referee, I think.
But it's amazing because things like this just didn't happen. I mean, it's clearly handball by Barros there, but decisions never got changed in those days. You just had to accept it. But somehow we did manage to get them to
Oh,
change and give the correct decision.
Quasi's grateful he's giving him a cuddle.
Yeah. But then a couple of minutes later,
Barros doing Barros things.
yeah,
I mean, yeah. It's just like the same way he dived when we were at Old Trafford.
yeah. But that was a penalty.
Of course.
But this is one of those tackles that Matt Taylor makes, and it has to be perfect, and it is.
Yeah, it looks pretty
He
perfect.
has to come round, get his foot there, get the ball, and yeah,
He's got the ball
it's
as clean as a
yeah,
whistle.
yeah.
Oh, so 1-0 down, surely.
Well, Michael Owen, he won't miss, will he? Oh dear.
That
Oh,
was a crap penalty.
and maybe you start to think at this time, hang on, this might be our day now. And then out it comes, Richard Hughes. Oh,
Great finish.
yeah, it was a neat finish with his left foot.
But he didn't put a lot on it. Let's have a look at what the keeper's up to here.
It's just placed in the corner, isn't it?
Yeah, he's just a little bit wrong-footed, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Good save from Shaka.
Shaka keeping us in the lead.
Yeah,
Well, that was it, 1-0.
yeah,
And Richard Hughes, he was a prolific goal scorer, wasn't he?
yeah. Well, I believe I'm right in saying that we've just watched half of his Pompey goals there.
I believe you are correct, yeah. He was obviously a cup goal scorer because his other one was against Hereford in the League Cup. And that was many years later.
So let's finish the story with by giving him a Pompey card then, Mr. Hughes.
There it is, 165 appearances, 2 goals.
Another new flag.
Oh, yes, Scottish. Of course, he suddenly became Scottish, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah. I think he was born in
He
Italy.
certainly wasn't. Well, yeah, he certainly wasn't born in Scotland, but
Hmm.
yeah,
I think he certainly played. His first club, I think, was Atalanta or something. So he's
yeah.
yeah. Um, he played
And that,
for a lot of seasons for 165 appearances.
I was just going to say, like Macca that we've just done, another player who was at the club for 9 years, maybe 9 years, and 165 appearances, as you say, is probably not a lot in that long a period.
No, I think the most when I looked at it, the most he did in a season was like 26 games. But he had seasons where he only played like 10 times. So
Yeah, yeah.
always around. Probably spent quite a bit of time on the bench and
Well, all but one of his seasons would have been in the Premier League, and he was only ever a backup player, to be honest. Some of the midfielders we had, he was never going to get in front of them, but he was obviously happy to be there, be part of the squad, come in when needed.
hmm.
And he played some crucial games. Let's not forget he played in the famous AC Milan game.
Yes, yes, yeah. That's definitely a game we need to have a look at some point, isn't
It definitely is, yeah, yeah.
it? um,
So,
I've given Richard Hughes 75, Tony.
this is probably one of the most difficult ones to assess because people you mention the name Richard Hughes and people immediately tend to think, oh, he was rubbish.
Well,
And okay,
maybe they think he's doing a great job with Pompey's recruitment at the moment.
yeah, yeah, I think that's a different one. But you have to remember, as we said, his time was spent in the Premier League, and he was playing against players who were generally better than him. But he wouldn't have been kept on and kept in the squad and picked if he wasn't capable of doing a job, and that he did. He was a no nonsense, no frills player.
Yeah, and the number of goals, reflects what
Yeah.
his role was. His role was a defensive midfielder to break the play up. So we won't hold
Yeah.
the goals record against him. But yeah,
No.
good solid player for Pompey.
He was, yeah.
That's 3 good games there, Tony. Well selected.
It was, and it's a shame to think that FA Cup replays, games like that, will not be around anymore.
Yeah, so that's the point of this video. It's a stupid decision by the FA. It sucks. It's not good for the little clubs. It's just pandering to the big boys,
Yeah.
as per
Yeah.
usual. It's not on, is it?
It's not, no. And I know there's some sort of debate about whether it can be changed, but I can't see it being changed. Once the decision's made, that's it. It's there.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Tony.
All right.
That brings
Cheers,
us
Ed.
to a conclusion today. I'll see you on the next one.
Okay. Thanks a lot.